Hello, Snugglebuzz. Well, today's Hearthstone video, we're going to be showing you how to get to Legend easy in the month of October 2022, 2 weeks after the Castle Nathria mini set. Without further ado, let's just get right to it. So at number 5, we have the Naga Priest here at 52.76%. It's sort of been there. The mini set didn't really change much of this list, so I guess spoiler ahead on that. But we have the Naga Priest is your Serpent Wigs and your Blesses, and you just play Naga, a bunch of Serpent Wigs, repeat to get some big buff minion or two, and then hit your opponent in the face really, really hard. And if they have single target removal, or if you don't spread it out well enough, that kind of thing, it's a little tough sometimes, but it has an overall win rate. It's a pretty fast deck because, again, you kind of know if you're going to win or lose in the first few turns with Serpent Wig. It's a good deck to climb with. It's not overall that expensive to craft either, which of course makes it, it has a few legendaries, but it's not too bad in comparison to some other decks on this list. For that reason, again, unless you want to see me play it, let me know in the comments down below. It's not my type of deck, but I'll give it a shot if you want to see it in action. But yeah, that's number 5. Let's go see number 4, which is the Aggro Druid. Again, like I said, the list didn't really change. Mini set, maybe it was a bust. Again, not to keep repeating myself, let me know in the comment section down below what you think of the actual mini set. But here we see the Aggro Druid. Again, didn't really change. You kind of just pump out a bunch of things, bunch of tokens, bunch of minions, hide them behind maybe a cheap 1/3 taunt, buff them all up as crazy as possible, and try to hit your opponent 2-0, usually by turn, say 4, 5, maybe 6 at the absolute latest. Very quick deck to climb with, very fast, very, very cheap. This is definitely the budget deck of the list. Not even any epics in this deck, so you can craft it very easily. I wouldn't recommend crafting the other ones if you don't have much dust, but this one, on the other hand, I mean, it's a couple of rares for the most part, so either you have it or it's not even going to hurt your dust bank very much to give it a shot. So I do recommend it if you're the type that really likes aggro decks and you really want a fast climb to Legend. This one would be my go-to. So the 3rd and 4th deck on the list are kind of similar. I guess maybe we'll add a honorable mention between 2 and 1 after this on here. I guess 3, not 3 and 4, because I went the other way, 5, 4, 3, 3 and 2. The 3rd and 2nd best decks are very similar. So we have the Imp Warlock here, and then number 2, I'll just say it is the Curse Imp Warlock version. So let's go maybe. This one is the, hyper aggressive version that tries to just get out the imps and then even buff them with the shady bartenders. Basically, it's a little bit faster of a version with only a slightly less win rate than the Curse Imp Warlock. Literally, like, they're not even, it's like 0.5%, maybe not even, it's like 0.3% of a difference in win rate. But this one plays a little bit more with the curses and Lady Dark Veins and stuff like that to kind of hit them over the top, using the imps as the early game advantage. They're both pretty quick. I'd say Imp Warlock for faster games. Curse Imp Warlock plays more to what I enjoy playing and is obviously just equally basically effective. So either one of those options are good. So before we go into deck number 1, let's go take an honorable mention look. The Spooky Mage. The Skeleton Mage deck is still just good. It's a solid deck overall. It's not quite as powerful as it was with the nerfs to like Magister Dawngrasp and, of course, the location like Cloak Sanctum. But it's just overall still really good. It gives you some early game pressure. The freezes, of course, are just ridiculous. And then the over-the-top damage once you get the upgraded pings on board, Reckless Apprentice, and the Mordresh. It just has so many finishers as well. Like, it keeps the board going until you can smack. It's one of the few decks that since it has like multiple finishers as well, Theotar stealing one of them might not be the end of the world, which, a lot of decks maybe only have the one finisher. So it's just a solid deck overall. Pretty expensive to craft if you don't have a lot of the cards from before with the legendaries and things like that. So unless you're like me and you really enjoy Spooky Mage, which I do, not a big fan of freeze mechanics, but just the skeletons and the Kel'Thuzad is actually just my favorite thing, really, in the Castle Nathria mini set, or the Castle Nathria set. Period. But yeah, this is just an honorable mention. It's kind of up there in the same win rate category as, say, the Naga Priest. It just wasn't quite there to make it on the list, so we throw that out there before we go look into number 1, which will surprise nobody, which is the Beast Hunter with a 57.21% win rate. Now, remember, that's the overall win rate. Now, I do look at the Diamond through Legend stats of these decks, but that's overall. So there are some deck lists that I saw with over 1,000 wins that had, I think, up to 60 point something, like 60% win rate for specific deck lists, they're all pretty similar, maybe one card different. And of course, this is bringing in lots of players. The fact that this is an overall percentage through like all players, Diamond through Legend, and there's a ton of people using this deck and it still stays at a 57% win rate, Not the literal fastest deck like the Aggro Druid, but again, if you're looking for an easy climb, at least in my opinion, if you have the cards to craft this deck, which again is probably the most expensive deck on this list to craft, depending on which cards you already have, of course, this would probably be your easiest bet to hit Legend. It's just so easy to play, very straightforward. It's good early, middle, and late game. It's just got all the tools that make a great deck. It's got aggro in it. It's got tempo all the way from like 1 mana all the way up to 10 mana. There's no 8 mana cards, but you know, it's tempo all the way through. It's got control tools. It's got late game like finishers with Sergeant Athras and even King Crush or things like that. So it's honestly just such a well built deck that came slowly over time. I myself and other people we complain about the deck because it's so dominant. But at the same time, it wasn't that long ago that there was a crazy amount of people, again, myself included, who kind of was like, oh, when will Hunter ever get away from this face Hunter only style? And, you know, when are we going to get, say, an effective Death Rattle or late game Hunter type build? And I mean, maybe they made it too well. Like maybe in order to make everybody happy, they'd have to remove some of this early game stuff so it is more of a late game deck. But either way, those are the best decks to climb with this month. Let me know in the comments down below if you'd like to see more content like this. Thank you very much for watching. Have a great rest of your day, and I'll see you in the next one.